Hey, everybody. Welcome to Let's Talk Sports. I'm Corey Tanisoff, joined by PJ Dolan and Gerald Mendoza. And today we answer the big question that everybody's been looking for since sports went down. And the question is, when are sports coming back? We're going to answer that a little bit later after a couple segments. But first, we're going to start up with last week's debate on the spicy nacho versus the spicy sweet chili, I believe it's called, or sweet spicy chili.
Purple bag.
Purple bag. It's
Team
the dark
purple
red versus the
forever.
purple bag. He's purple bag forever. I'm dark red. It's the way it goes. Now, last week we ran a Twitter poll, and the results were not unanimous, not swaying in any way. But as you can see from this Doritos poll, sweet chili only got 44%, while spicy nacho got 56% of the vote. Meaning, albeit it was a small sample size, but it still rings true that spicy nacho is a superior flavor.
All right, well, Trump is our president because of the Electoral College. The popular vote voted Hillary in. So, elections mean nothing, votes mean nothing, and I will die on the hill that purple Doritos are by far the most superior type of Doritos.
Well, here's the thing, though, is that we're going to both get into, and I'm going to take your side on this one of the stat argument. 56% of a vote does not get you into the Hall of Fame in MLB. It needs to be about 66% or around that line of voters to do it. Now, what we need to test is a gauntlet match. We need to test a gauntlet of all the flavors with one seed on each side is spicy nacho. And we've got we got 1 through 4. One seed goes against the 4. So spicy nacho goes against the dinamita or the taco flavor, and then you got your purple bag goes up against
Cool
nacho
Ranch
cheese or something basic Cool Ranch, something like that. It's got to happen in cycles, but we really need to see, because we both agree that they're the 1 and 2 in whatever order. It's like an MJ versus LeBron debate. I think MJ's at top and LeBron's at number 2, but it's interchangeable. Who's number 1? Who's number 2? Everybody knows they're the best at what they've ever done. And that's what we're getting at here, is that these are the 2 best flavors that have ever come out, probably for any chip ever, aside from, honorable mention, sour cream and onion as the GOAT flavor and salt and vinegar as an excellent flavor of any kind of chip. Old Bay chip is excellent too, but
that's more of a regional thing, really.
That sweet Carolina barbecue.
It's
different sometimes.
The Carolina barbecue.
That is
barbecue
true. Yeah.
Are good, but it's got to go with what you're eating. You got to have some coleslaw, some potato salad with your Carolina barbecue.
I was about to say, exactly. So this would be like a poll of things like,
this is the lunch episode, by the way.
Would you eat by yourself? Which chip would you eat by itself? Like just
the only
the best
chip that I will never find myself eating by itself is a barbecue chip. I can eat any other thing, but with a barbecue chip, I can sit there and I can eat it with a meal. I'll make a grilled cheese tomato soup, barbecue chip. Easy beans. I'll make salmon on the grill with mashed potatoes, asparagus, and barbecue chip. Whatever it works, it works. Grilled
for any kind of sandwich with some cold cuts. Just put the chips inside.
Because my favorite sandwich of all time is a fried peanut butter sandwich. You make it like you do a grilled cheese sandwich, but instead of cheese, you do peanut butter. It's going to change your world, everybody. Try that. It is the best thing in the entire world. But with that, you got to have some chips. And I think the best go-to chip as an assistant to any food is a crab chip. Barbecue chips, though, I can't eat them on their own. They're the second best assistant chip. But I can't sit down and eat. I can't house a bag of barbecue chips. The other one that I couldn't sit down and eat a whole bag of is the salt and vinegar. I love the taste.
Taste-wise, definitely the best, but you can only take so much before it just
exactly your fortitude goes out. You lose the stamina. Your chip eating stamina that you've been working for. You lose it.
What about vinegar chips are top tier diet chips? Like if you need portion control, there you go.
Right. What about this? What about stacking Pringles? Because I know that was a thing they tried to do for themselves, like of mixing the different flavors and all that.
Dude, look, here's the thing. I go to my Food Lion by my house, and it's like 3 for $3 Pringles. And I'm like, all right. And I buy my favorite are the jalapeno. They're incredible. The honey mustard ones are surprisingly good.
I've never tried.
And then I get the cheddar and sour cream. And those are GOAT. And if you got to get any Pringles that are regular, get the Pringles wavy because those are top notch.
No.
It makes crispier. It's the same thing that goes on with cheese.
It's not about it making it crispy. I'm sorry. It's not even the fact that okay, sure, maybe it may be crispier in your opinion. In my opinion, they're actually softer.
Jesus.
It's actually softer, but it doesn't really work. And
Gerald, I didn't know it was possible to have an objectively wrong opinion until this day.
Let me finish. The real problem with the wavy Pringles is that you end up with less in the container, which is just a ripoff and puts a bad feeling in your head.
I disagree because it's the same thing that goes on with stacking cans. Is you got this little extra thing, but they fit in perfectly, right? You don't end up with any less because they've all got the same waves on them, so they just collapse in.
No, because the chip itself is actually thicker too. Because they need to be thicker to form them in the wavy.
Because I'm getting more potato out of it.
I mean, for you, but I want more chip. So I'm just, either way.
And I think one of the most universally appreciated but under-recognized chip flavors, I got to give it to my god tier favorite, the sour cream and onions. I was never a sour cream fan. I don't like sour cream in my tacos. I don't like them in my burritos or on my enchiladas. I don't like sour cream.
They don't go on any of that naturally, so that makes sense.
I don't want it on anything. I won't eat sour cream. But sour cream and onion chips, delicious.
Sour cream and onion chips are one of the last bags to go in the party size. The last two chips always left over for me are sour cream and onion. And
what about
plain Fritos? If they're the spicy chili Fritos,
yep, the Frito chilies can get it.
If we can continue this conversation a little bit, what does you guys view party mix?
Yes, 100% party mix. Absolutely,
party mix. But they have barbecue party mix too.
When you do the party mix, you need to be a scientist. You need to figure out, okay, I got this tortilla chip, and then I get this little pretzel square, and then I get one of the little Dorito things and one of the Cheetos, and you put those in, and then you make a sandwich out of it. You got to be like an architect doing it. You can't just put your hand in willy-nilly and grab one chip. You can't grab one chip because then you're missing out on the party experience. It's party mix. It's not sit down by yourself with a half gallon of chocolate ice cream watching Friends mix. It's party mix. You got to party. You go all in, man.
To anybody who feels called out by that, we're not apologizing for that.
I'm not apologizing.
Together, right?
Yeah.
It's not
stop watching Friends
on your lonesome mix. It's called party mix.
All right, so I'd like to close this segment off by saying that the most heavily slept on road trip snack is Muddy Buddy Chex Mix.
Yes, absolutely. The chocolate covered Ooh. I'm going to go out and actually say the thing that Jerry Seinfeld has a joke about it, like, oh, when did you start eating that? I think one of the best snacks in the world that you never think to get, but you're never going to say no to, is trail mix. You can never, if somebody says, hey man, you want some trail mix? When are you going to say no? Like, it's like, yeah, I'll take some trail mix. Of course.
Yeah.
Get the raisins. If you can, you get you get the peanuts, the almonds, and then sometimes the chocolate covered fruit or the chocolate covered chocolates. The M&Ms.
The chocolate covered chocolate.
Well, they are chocolate covered chocolate. You get those, and you go nuts. You just eat it, and maybe they got craisins in it. Yeah, you're not losing on trail mix.
If they have craisins, you lost me. But everything else, yes,
I'm not a hater of raisins, but what I really do love are the chocolate covered raisins.
I like raisins on their own, but I don't like when you put them in shit it don't belong in.
Potato salad
should not
have
have
those things that honkies got to getting like a thing in their mind that they can put raisins in potato salad.
One of the most damning moments in human history is when the white man discovered raisins. That is,
let's be honest.
It doesn't belong.
Hold on, back that up. Let's be honest. The time white man discovered anything is one of the most damning.
Yeah, you're right.
Let's just get that clear out of the way.
Think about this. The white man looked at a tortilla, and it was a nice maize tortilla, and they went, I wonder if we could make this worse. And then was born the flour tortilla. Like, Gerald, when given the option for anything, have you ever gone like, you know what? I want the flour tortilla.
For petty stuff and for fajitas. And by petty stuff, I mean if you don't have anything else and you don't have any regular tortillas and you don't feel like making them yourself and you just have them there in the fridge somewhere,
I'm gonna eat them. I'm gonna eat it.
You're gonna put that with a little bit of cheese and stick it on a frying pan, no oil or anything. Just put it on there to heat it up so the cheese just make yourself literally make yourself a damn quesadilla. But
yeah.
But
well,
no,
thing,
but that's the only. It's not for tacos. It is not for burritos. It's not for tacos. Enchiladas. It's not for taquitos.
And
by the way, the way my family makes tacos is actually they cook the stuff inside the filling, which is usually like shredded pork or shredded meat, seasoning and some sauce in there, and then you roll it up in a tortilla, stick a toothpick through it, and then deep fry it.
Oh, Coronary Central, man. That sounds delicious.
I want some, bro. When am I coming over for dinner, Gerald?
hey, Super Bowl party at Gerald's house. That's all I'm saying.
I'm just saying. I mean, maybe.
Myself as for chicken or whatever, but when you go to a taco joint, and for me, I always get the fish tacos because you can't lose with good fish tacos. You know, it's like pizza. When it's bad, it's good, and it's whatever it is.
Unless you're talking to Jon Stewart about the deep dish pizza.
I hate deep dish pizza. It's soup.
He called dish. Yeah, he called deep dish pizza sex with a corpse made of sandpaper.
Yeah, Chicago style pizza is not pizza. Deep dish pizza is not pizza. It's soup. That's a casserole. What it is. That's my opinion, and it exactly is a casserole. But you never go to a taco shop. You never go to a taco shop and think to yourself, you know what I want? A flour tortilla. I would like a flour tortilla instead of corn. You don't say that because it's wrong.
They'll basically kick you out at that point.
And saying, I want gluten-free crust. You don't do that. If you are gluten-free, you're not looking towards pizza.
I mean, they might do that at Coal Fire now just because of where they're located, but that's it.
I'm talking Domino's has a gluten-free crust. If you are gluten-free, if you have celiac or you're health conscious and you want gluten-free, don't eat at Domino's. Don't do it. Don't do it to yourself.
Because out of spite, they'll bring back the pasta bread bowl just for you.
Just for you. Just for you. Well, we're going to call it on the food segment because I know I myself am getting hungry now, and this is very not much. The Let's Talk Food coming soon to a computer near you. Not actually, but if we get enough support, then fuck it, food show.
I was gonna say, don't kill that off yet.
Yeah, I mean, hey, I'm not against a food show. If enough people can get behind one, then
I think that might just be that might just have to be a recurring segment on the post show when we start running that.
That'll be that. Also, if we get enough positive responses on these shows, then we're going to start running the post show, which is just us generally being stupid, discussing whatever life has or whatever we're doing, or whatever we're mad about, happy about.
Potential firsts online and for the world to see sometimes. We'll see how that works.
But not that first, Gerald. Nobody wants to see you doing that.
And you lost me.
So we're going to be moving on to the next thing, and we're going to talk about the rundown. So I'm going to go ahead. We're just going to list off some sports things that are in the news and about right now. The MLB draft has the Tigers with the first overall pick coming up in the next few. When does the MLB draft happen? That happens next week or so. I think it might happen tomorrow.
Shows you how much we really care about the MLB draft.
Exactly. The MLB draft is a moot point in the entire league. But the Orioles have the second pick, as last year they got Adley Rutschman, catcher, for their first pick. And the Astros don't have any picks until the last two rounds, which is good. And they should not have any picks, personally. It should not be a team. Let's bring the Expos back and get the Astros out of here.
I thought you said you didn't want to bring the Expos back.
I will bring the Expos back if it means getting rid of the Astros.
I told you. I said disband a team, or either disband a team and make an expansion team in Mexico City, or move them to Mexico City and say they're your team now. Deal with them.
Yeah. Well, so there's that. Then next up, Hall of Fame center for the Washington Bullets, Wes Unseld, just passed away in the last week. I believe he stood at 6'8", making him the smallest center inducted into the Hall of Fame. And 100% he was. But I also believe he's the smallest center ever elected to an All-Star team. And also, here's a cool little trivia thing for you guys. There have only been 2 players ever who won Rookie of the Year and MVP of the league in the same season. One of them is Wes Unseld. Do you know who the other one was?
No.
Take a guess.
Kobe Bryant.
Absolutely not.
No.
Allen Iverson won Rookie of the Year. Kobe didn't win Rookie of the Year. It was Wilt Chamberlain. Who else but, right?
Yeah.
So
that would have made, yeah.
To be right next to Wilt on anything ever. I don't put Wilt in my top 5 players of all time, but to be next to him on any stat thing, that speaks volumes. And Wes Unseld, God rest his soul, rest in peace, man, was a legend for the Bullets for his entire career with the Bullets. You know, he was excellent. He was a 6'8". He was a Chuck-sized center who was incredible at grabbing boards and scoring points. God rest his soul. May he rest in peace. Moving on to some other sports stuff, golf just announced they're starting back up the PGA Tour with the Memorial Tour, or the Memorial event, which will be upcoming and not Zoom streamed. They will actually be in person playing golf because there's so much putt-putt you can do in your office before nobody watches. There's only so much golf you can do on a PGA Tour course before nobody watches. So they're showing that. And I love golf, don't get me wrong. Anybody have anything else for the rundown?
Some European soccer leagues are like the Bundesliga in Germany is still running actually pretty well. They say that like I said last week, the English Premier League, the Italian League, the French League, possibly some other lower leagues, smaller, less expensive leagues are also going to start in the middle of June. So right upcoming in the next week or so. I think June 17th is a big day that a lot of the big ones have set. And they say that the Champions League is also going to start up hopefully maybe in August or early September. So they do want to get the Champions League done, which is going to be in, I forget what venue they chose this year, but it's going to be obviously somewhere in Europe. So,
and last thing is we captured last week a little bit of the NHL coming back. And so shout out to PJ for the Rangers being in the, there we go. Come on, bring it out.
Hold on.
He's got it. Don't worry. He's got it.
Hank's going to get his cup, bro. Hank's going to get his cup.
Hank, go get the cup. We bringing it back. Rangers in 4. That's all I'm saying.
Time.
Rangers in foe.
The Yankee baseball's not happening this year, so the gods blessed me with another team to make the playoffs.
Look, if this happens again, then I think we should start bringing back the chance. Just change it from 1940 to 1980 this time. No, yeah. What was it, 94 they won?
Yeah, 94.
That's almost 40 years ago. No, 30 years ago. Almost 30 years ago. 30. So my math is off. I've been out of school.
Yeah, I was going to say, it was like, Jesus.
Good thing you're not a math major.
I mean, there's a reason.
Yeah.
Clearly.
So speaking of playoff contention, we're going to move on to the next, which, if nobody has anything else to cover, we're going to start talking about the NBA's 22-team playoff tournament, which cancels the regular season. Marks the last day as, I believe, was it March it was in the last half of March. I think it was the 19th or 21st. Could be wrong on that. Vince Carter has played his last game as there are only 9 teams going forward.
Against the New York Knicks.
Exactly. And Vince Carter hit the last 3-pointer in that game, ending off his legendary career. Vince Carter, I'm certain, is in the top 10 of 3-pointers made for all players ever. So Vince Carter, everybody knows him as the dunk king, but he's also the sharpshooter king, as on that list. He's one of the legends, instant Hall of Famer. Now, other teams left out are the New York Knicks.
They didn't want to. They saw how crazy this year was, and they didn't want to give the Knicks a chance to make a miracle run. It's a scam. They don't want us to succeed.
It's a conspiracy.
Everybody's
well,
against us.
Well, let's be honest. James Dolan deserves to be left out that way, but not the
Yeah.
Knicks
no.
themselves.
James
Not the
Dolan
Knicks themselves.
deserves to be left out that way. The Knicks do not.
That's true.
Free the
So,
Knicks.
a team left in the bracket, the 9th team rounding out the Eastern Conference, is the Washington Wizards. So
Let's
instead
go.
of just cutting it off at 8, our Washington Wizards are going to be advancing on. And this raises my next question. So the only one team against the entire 22-team play-in format was the Portland Trailblazers, who I believe are still included in the 22 teams. But this brings up various points of view on the age of coaches and how coaches who are in their 30s and 40s are more well-equipped to fight any kind of virus that comes at them in regards to other coaches who are in their 60s and 70s. So that brings up an entire debate about how will the coaches be able to perform on the same level when they have their own health to look out for. And that's not, I'm not going to minimize those concerns, but what I'm looking to see is what do we think about the Brooklyn Nets in specific? And the Golden State Warriors have already been eliminated from playoff contention, so they had no hopes. But the Brooklyn Nets and the Washington Wizards, with their stars having returned from injury, should they be allowed to use them? John Wall suffered his Achilles tear or a prior injury that put him out.
I think it was a rupture at that point.
Well, he had an Achilles tear that put him out for the end of the 2019 season, and then he fully tore his Achilles in his home in that summer.
Right, while he was still recovering technically.
Exactly. So he calls himself fully ready for any kind of NBA course load. And then, as we know, Kyrie Irving was injured in the last half of the NBA season, and Kevin Durant has been out since, the entirety of the 2019-2020 season. So if the Nets return, should they be able to bring back these two players who didn't play any part in their run towards the playoffs, or in the Wizards also? Should they be left at home, or should they be allowed to join the team back again?
Well, I'm going to go with they should be left at home, and you should pick up where it started. Now, I have Kevin Durant they officially ruled him out for coming back for the Nets for this play-in.
Right.
Now, I don't know. I know Kyrie was hurt too. I'm going to see if he's coming back. Yeah, so let's see. I think they approved. The NBA said they could come back if they wanted to, but they're not going.
Right. So I guess that raises the question of so the Nets are a different figure, but I'm more so staring at, because I was initially looking at the Nets on that because they have two of
the better players.
One player who's arguably in peak form, in anybody's top 5, he's in the top 3 of current players active in Kevin Durant. And then Kyrie Irving, who is in the top 5 of point guards in the NBA. No matter how you look at it, he's up there when he's performing and not injured. And if they have those two key pieces, that changes the Nets from a contending team to a seriously championship-worthy team. But they didn't make the entire season, and they weren't looking at an original playoff with them in it. And the same thing goes for the Wizards. If the Wizards were looking for a return to the playoffs, they would have had to run it straight through Bradley Beal and who's the next best player? Thomas Bryant.
Yeah, I think so.
And by Thomas Bryant, most people are out there saying, who? And that's exactly what the Washington Wizards have been this season. It's Bradley Beal playing 39 minutes a game and being snubbed for an all-star vote. And it's Bradley Beal. But if we look at John Wall back in the equation, that is, again, a top 5 point guard. And in my opinion, the only true point guard left in the game, aside from Chris Paul and Rajon Rondo. So a team who was struggling before gets their star player back. Should the NBA let that happen? And are they wrong for letting it happen, or are they right?
I don't know. Like I said at the beginning of this entire situation, this is for this generation, a completely unprecedented situation that, has not been dealt with before. So obviously, no matter what decision they are going to make, someone's going to say it was the wrong choice. So let's get that out of the way. PJ, you said you didn't think they should come back, because and Corey, you said basically because they weren't part of the system that brought them to that point.
Right.
I don't know. Like you said, the NBA said they were allowed to come back if they wanted to.
They were allowed to come. They said they're allowed to come back, but John Wall's not coming back. Kyrie and KD are also not coming back.
Okay. I don't know. That might just be a health risk thing. They might just be. Yeah, they might just say, "Well, I'm a lot more healthy at home, and even if I am allowed to come back, I'm not going to."
John Wall is not healthier at home, as we've seen. His
I mean, John Wall would want to go.
Yeah, flipping down the stairs.
No, but like, as in in terms of the whole pandemic and everything, but I don't know, like maybe they don't want to be part of the season that's going to have a huge asterisk over it. I don't know, because let's be honest, this is so. Even if let's say the Bucks win the championship, which I think they can. They were a contender already, but they have this asterisk over it. I don't know if it means more for the city of Milwaukee than it does for, like, say, if I don't know who were the contenders this year, LA and
I feel Clippers? Like the Lakers, because of the Kobe situation, I feel like
they want it. Okay,
I feel like they should get it, but
they want it more.
Well, yeah, and they were doing good anyway.
Right, I agree. I think this would be the number. This would be
right.
the number one. This would be the number one season for the Lakers to make a comeback, and with the Kobe thing at the front of it, and then LeBron James looking to make his case as, hey, I'm not just a player who can't come up. Like, he wants to prove himself as somebody who can make a chip wherever he goes. And the Lakers have all the motivation they need from that. So I see this as the Lakers season to take, but the Bucks have good stats against them, having, I think, the fifth best plus minus of any team in a season ever in point differential.
Right. The 76ers weren't doing anything this year, were they?
Nah, they were in the playoffs. Not much. Oh, no.
They were in the playoffs, but just like in the middle of the pack type thing.
Well, they took the whole team and they replaced Al Horford with they put in Tobias Harris, and that was their entire restructure. But I want to go back to the point that you made of the asterisk next to the season, and I don't believe that's going to be the case. I mean, in the 95 shortened season of the MLB, there's no asterisk next to.
I guess in
the NFL's shortened season, there's not that. There's not any. That's what I mean. I think their lack of agreement. There's nothing there. But I do agree the fact that these are unprecedented in terms of the major sports. But I don't think any player is sitting out because they don't want to win a chip in a season that's weird. The reason you play basketball, the reason everybody in the NBA does it, you ask them, what are you looking for? They're looking for a chip. You play basketball to win, to lift up the what is the finals trophy?
Larry O'Brien.
Yep, the O'Brien Trophy. Yep. You look to hoist the O'Brien Trophy. And that's the reason we play the game. That's why everybody plays. That's why you play when you have a dream of being in the NBA when you're in high school or when you're 8 or something like that. You want to be an NBA champion. And no player is going to turn that down just because it's a weird season. Nobody. Everybody wants to win a chip. And if you're invited, you want your team to do better. I think KD, Kyrie, and John Wall have their own reasons of doing like rehab on their own injuries that they're not doing it. But I don't think it has anything to do with the asterisk season, as it were.
Right. And I guess I was just saying that as a hypothetical, because on the other side of the coin, I'm not going to lie, it would be pretty nice to be the team that won the championship and brought sports back to the forefront when we needed it most. Because let's be honest, this world's falling apart around us. And I don't know.
Watch a damn basketball game.
What's next? Did we miss?
I just want to watch shoots, man.
Did we miss the Killer Hornets? I think we missed the Killer Hornets.
The Murder Hornets.
The Murder Hornets. You remember that?
Yeah.
So much going on.
So another question that comes from this is, Lakers win the championship this year, right? Does this come into play with the LeBron Jordan debates about LeBron's chip this year?
I'm I personally through many deliberations and arguments with my dad and things, and watching that 10-part on ESPN, I've come to look, I'm a very stats minded guy, and looking at stats and looking at the state of the league, Michael Jordan played better. Now, he made it to 3 less finals than LeBron. I'm not putting LeBron as a bad player. I believe he's his second best when it comes to it. But I think LeBron, and some people will differ, I think LeBron is within reach of it. Some people think LeBron has already blown his chance to be the GOAT, But I think that winning a chip right now is the most meaningful chip that he got since 2016. Or ever, I guess. Because 2016 was his most meaningful chip. That and his first.
I was about to say, is this going to mean more than? Is this going to mean more? This championship.
No.
Okay,
if it weren't for the
hold
Kobe,
on. Wait a minute. Let's weigh the options here because we have Cleveland finally winning the championship after I don't know how many years without a single sports
50,
championship.
it was like 54 or
something like that. And then LA, even though they've had championship teams before and this and that and the other, and they're a city of champions. Let's be honest here. They are more than New York.
Baby. LA, baby. City of 3 MVPs on the same baseball team.
I mean, that was the Yankees in the 90s, I guess. But
if it weren't for a certain organization, we could have settled the debate years ago. But
no, okay. But anyway, it's gonna mean more anyway, especially for the Lakers because of the Kobe situation.
I agree.
Is it gonna mean more? Is it gonna like? To the city, which city's going to appreciate it more?
Los Angeles,
Cleveland
100%.
Because Cleveland finally broke the drought, or Los Angeles because it's honoring Kobe?
Well, I think it's almost a gotcha kind of question on that. Is it meant a lot to Cleveland to have that championship because it was the first they had. But you have to remember the organization squandered every opportunity to bring LeBron talent. They had Ilgauskas was the big man that LeBron was playing with. And then they brought in, who's that god-awful long-haired dude who played for the Warriors and then also played for Cleveland? Center. Can't remember his name. Anderson Varejao. Exactly.
King, bro.
That was the person who they brought in to be the big help for the King. Now, you can't make that, Cleveland squandered the opportunity to get any chip with him the first time he was in town. They did that. He plays for Miami, gets a couple chips. He comes back to Cleveland, wins a chip against a 73-win team. That's meaningful. But what's more meaningful is it goes beyond the city. It goes to the basketball community. It goes to basketball fans everywhere. And it has nothing to do with LeBron playing on the level at the age. It comes from the fact that LeBron, if he's doing this, he's doing it for Kobe. He's doing it for Kobe, This win means more to basketball. If the Lakers get this, it means more to basketball than potentially any other season ever. Winning the chip.
My stance on this is for LeBron's legacy.
This means I think this.
No, 2016. LeBron James was put on this earth to bring a championship to the city of Cleveland, and he did that. That is LeBron's legacy game is Game 7 of that finals. But
boom, chase down block
for basketball and the world as a whole, it would be a lot more meaningful for the Lakers to win.
Let's be honest, the sports world as a whole, because he was beyond an international figure, just basketball. He was. You saw soccer players and every different sports, personnel wearing Kobe jerseys and number 24 on their stenciled in on their undershirts, trying to honor him because he was that big of a figure in sports all around.
Well, he's transcendent from basketball. I mean, he grew up. He spoke Italian, dude. He's a huge soccer guy, and I would argue, even personally, he meant more for the world of the WNBA than he ever did for the world of the NBA. He was their number one guy who really helped gain it popularity and get it off the ground. Is Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bean Bryant had no more respect for anybody than he did for women's hoopers, but I disagree with you, PJ, on the thing that LeBron's legacy is Cleveland. I think that there's a certain amount that shows he's 34, 35. He goes out and wins a ring with one good player on his team, right? He does that. He did. They say, oh, he did it in Cleveland, but he had Kyrie and K Love. And it's like, okay, now he's in Los Angeles and only has AD. He doesn't. Who's his starting point guard? Rajon Rondo. Who's this? Like an old Rajon Rondo. Who's the starting shooting guard? Kentavious Caldwell Poop. Dude can't ball.
Christ.
He couldn't hit the broad. He couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. That's how bad that guy was to start the season. And I was on a hot streak. And who's their center? They can't make up their mind between Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee. They can't do it. So the Lakers have a rotating starting five, but there's two guys that hold it, and it's LeBron James and Anthony Davis. If he can win this chip, I believe this puts him in that conversation of like, okay, well, he took it back and he moved. And this organization was a rebuild last year. They didn't make the playoffs. The first time in like 13 or the first time in 8 years, LeBron didn't make the finals.
Right.
Was on this team. And then he comes back and wins. That's his Jordan retirement year. That's what that is. And then
but he doesn't even have to. I don't.
Okay, if the Lakers win that, hold on. If the Lakers win that chip, they have additional free agency firepower. That's going to be a destination. It's what people want to go to LA because they see it's hot, it's sexy again. It's Los Angeles, city of stars. Walk down Hollywood Boulevard and get 500 autographs anytime you're out. They see that and they want to do it. But you got to remember, this just came from a rebuilding team, and every other team he had, aside from, well, even the Cavs, they had Kyrie.
Let's be honest, they had a front office that was pretty dysfunctional too.
Absolutely. But it goes beyond front office. It's with trades and draft acquisitions. I mean, Cleveland really shit the bed by drafting Andrew Wiggins, which was a terrible first pick, and we saw how that turned out. But they picked up Kyrie, and they traded Andrew Wiggins to the Timberwolves for Kevin Love.
Right.
So they won that, even though, like, imagine drafting first and getting Kevin Love out of it. That's excellent. He went to Miami and got greeted with Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and Ray Allen. And then even more tools around that. I mean, you had, like, you can't even begin to name the star power that the Heat had, and they still lost. But he goes to LA, and his first opportunity to make the playoffs, he wins. I think that means more for LeBron's legacy than having a team that had him, lost him, got into rebuilding, got those young tools, and immediately got him back. I think going into a team that didn't have tools.
That is a conspiracy theory, which we can have a conspiracy theory episode, but there is a pretty big theory that LeBron left Cleveland on purpose.
Yeah,
so
to make it better. Yep.
So he could come back and bring the chip home.
Well, there's also the other conspiracy that LeBron, when he was in Cleveland, traded for Larry Nance and Clarkson and all that so that he could get the terrible players off the Lakers when he got there.
Right.
And then he trades away. I think the biggest mistake was trading away Brandon Ingram. As good of a player as he is, though, I don't see him fitting into that starting five. But they traded away their young tools, and now they are in win now mode. And if they don't win now, I guess you can't blemish LeBron's reputation. At this point, he's 3 for 9 in the finals, but still, he's been to 9 finals.
Right.
The only other person that I can think of that's been to 9 finals was on that Celtics team that won 11. I don't believe any other player has been to that many. I mean, Robert Ory's got 7 or 8 rings, but right place, right time.
Right.
LeBron has dominated 15 teams every single year for 9 years, or 14 other teams, every year for 9 years. And then 3 of those years, he's dominated 29 teams. I don't see LeBron falling apart from anything that the Lakers don't put together. But I think if he wins this puts him up there. This is as good of an argument as any.
Right. And, okay, let's say he wins this year. What happens after he wins?
Is
he going to stay in?
Absolutely.
Is he going to stay in LA or is he going to retire?
No,
he's coming to New York. And that's the real legacy builder. He's coming to New York. He's going to bring a chip home.
Home.
LeBron James indubitably will stay with the Lakers. I mean, he's on a 4-year, I believe he signed with them, and this is
Right.
only season 2. And he's
I mean,
not going to
hey,
retire.
James Dolan might just be the one to buy him out, but you never know.
LeBron James has it in him. LeBron James has never started what he couldn't finish, right? He's never gone to a team and not won with them and not made them contenders. He started out in Cleveland and they just weren't. Then he goes to Miami, wins a couple, goes back to Cleveland because the job isn't done, finishes the job against the best team that maybe the best team the NBA has ever seen, as we can see from a wins record and a points record. But then he goes to LA, doesn't get it done first season. Maybe he gets it done the second season. I don't see LeBron not coming back. And I would even wager, I would put down 1-to-1 odds, LeBron will re-sign another contract with the Lakers as soon as his 4 years up. I believe that. I don't think LeBron is leaving for another team. I think it's too far. He's already rebuilt this team enough.
Okay.
And I honestly see if he performs and everybody around him performs, they could have 2 more ahead of him or 3 more ahead of him now.
He
And
might
could
be.
match that. He could have his Jordan year up in 2024 or 2023.
He might be doing what Jordan tried to do with the Wizards, where he's trying to. Well, obviously, you play to win, like you said, you play to win a chip, but he might
But
also
he drafted
be doing.
Kwame Brown.
I just let me work. Let me like.
Kwame Brown, dude.
Okay, listen. Let me preface this by saying I don't agree with 90% of what Colin Cowherd says on the radio, but
You shouldn't. He's the worst talking head.
But he's basically like his standpoint is that LeBron is in LA not only to win championships and to prove, just to prove to everybody that he can finish a job wherever he gets it, but also to try to gain enough internal power to become a part owner.
Well, Michael Jordan left Chicago and retired and went to Washington because he was the coach. He was Washington's head man. And then he went back to playing for Washington. He was like, yeah, I want to play. And he played. And he balled. He did ball in Washington. You look at his stats. He balled. He played.
Right.
But he didn't get anything because he didn't have the team. That's LeBron James' Cleveland that he walked into initially. He didn't have that buildup. I would say LeBron's second Cavs are what Michael had when he started on the Bulls or when he got into that mid 80s level thing. But then the rest of it was Heat. That was Jordan's first 3 were his Heat years. And now I'm looking at LeBron for his Jordan years, his last 3, his 95, 90, or his 96, 97, 98. That's what we're looking at him for. We're looking for those. And if he can't pull that off, he shouldn't. If he ends his career without any more rings, I think that puts him below Jordan. But if he can pull it off winning 6, then I don't see an excuse why he's not right up there.
Do you think LeBron's going to get 6?
I can see him doing it, but just as easily, I can see him not doing it.
I can see him. I don't know why. I can see him. If he wins this year, he's definitely going to get 5. Yeah. That's my stamp. He's definitely going to get 5. And then
he's already 1 year into a 4-year. He's got
right. Here's the thing. If he gets 5 and he stops there, he'll never hear the end of it.
Yep. He didn't get his Jordan ring.
So why not get the 6 and then become the absolute greatest of all time?
Because then there's still that argument of, LeBron won 6, but he also lost 6.
To do it.
Right. He also lost.
I mean, how many?
6 for 12.
I know, but weighing it out, how many finals did MJ go to?
6, and he won all of them. Never went to a Game 7 and won MVP in each one. There's that.
Yeah,
that's the Jordan argument.
And that's the argument. But if he gets
Jordan
6,
would have had 8 if he never retired. If he didn't retire the first
No. You told me otherwise. You said if Jordan would have stayed in the middle, that team would have blown up.
I think that last you got me. You got me on that one. I think that last team might not have done it because he was tired on it in the middle retirement. The first retirement, I don't know if he stayed if they would have gotten one, but in the last one, if they had renewed them and told Phil, you can come back and offered the players 1 year, 2 year, whatever, everybody would have. I think The smart players would have taken it. That's D-Rod. That's your Steve Kerr, right? That's MJ. They would have taken it. Pippen would probably have taken it if everybody else is doing it, but you're looking for numbers. I think if he didn't retire both times, MJ would have 7. Absolutely, easily, 7 for 7.
And 7 for 7 MVP.
7 for 7 MVP. I mean, who else is going to take the MVP from him? That's the thing. Is you look at Jordan, who's taking the MVP from him?
Well, how many finals MVPs does LeBron have?
I believe LeBron has all 3 of the ones that he's won.
Okay.
I believe that because he might have got one of the Heat taken away by D Wade, but he definitely has 2016, and he has that first chip. He doesn't have the one that they took over the. He might have the one that they took over the Spurs on with that Ray Allen shot.
Yeah, I think he's MVP in all 3. I can look it up real quick.
Yeah, please.
I'm pretty sure. Okay, well, let's say because he definitely has the potential to be MVP for every finals MVP for every finals that he goes to. Let's say he wins 3 more finals and he gets 3 more finals MVPs. At that point, there is no more argument.
No,
it doesn't matter that he lost another.
There's still an argument because he's 6 for 12.
LeBron has all 3. Now, an interesting side talking point is I'm so greatly reminded that Steph Curry does not have 1 finals MVP.
Not 1, baby.
We cross that bridge when we get to it.
Look at Curry. So inspirational. But
he's so humble, he won't get an MVP.
But the thing about
hold on, real quick, hold on, just a digression. I saw this thing on Twitter. It's like it said spray painted on like some brick, I don't know, some brick fence base or something. It said "Darn the police," and it's like, "Thank you, Russell Wilson, for your contribution."
Yeah. But I still think that argument of like, oh, if LeBron wins 6, it's no debate. I still don't think so. You know, I think that.
But at that point, it's almost a hollow Klingon to say, well, he only went to 6.
No. I think at that point, it's less of that and more so of a actual debate. Because if both of them have 6 rings, then you look at the teams they had around them when they didn't win rings. LeBron didn't have, or Michael didn't have his Batman. He didn't have the team built around him. He didn't have Ron Harper like going off like he did.
Right.
But then also in the LeBron years, you look at the couple and the teams he lost to when he lost to who did he lose to?
Lost to the Spurs twice.
He lost to Timmy twice, and did he lose to Dirk?
He lost to Dirk.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's that's 3, and then he lost to the Warriors.
Right.
He lost to the Warriors the first time when the whole team got hurt, like Kyrie and Kevin Love got hurt.
I remember that game. Was it game 1 of the finals?
Kyrie broke his knee.
He lost in 15, 17, and 18 to the Warriors and lost to the Spurs twice and lost to the Mavs once. So you look at that and you say, okay, well, who's he going up against? The Mavs didn't have firepower that year. They had one man named Dirk Nowitzki, and he pushed through. The Spurs are perennial talent birthed by Tim Duncan. That's what it is. They did their job because of TD, because of Timmy. But he still lost his rings basically honorably to really great teams all around.
Right.
And then he beats a 73-win team, and then they add KD. So they built the NBA's Death Star of teams. And you're not going to beat that.
You can't hold that against LeBron, especially because the second.
I stand by the fact that they were this close to being able to turn. Like, if they would have gotten game 1 of the finals,
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Yes, if they would have got, I stand by. If they would have gotten game 1 of the finals, they would have rode that momentum to at least 4 wins. That's just my opinion. Call it blind, call it whatever, naive, but that's just my opinion.
I'm going to call it.
If J.R. Smith wasn't trying to wait for this timeout like he claims he was.
I'm not going to call it blind. I'm not going to call it naive. I'm going to call it what it is. I'm going to call it stupid. I think that thinking that team would win 1 and then ride that to 4 wins, whether it was game 4 or game 7, that's just dumb.
But you also have to consider sometimes.
Look, you don't consider anything.
No. Sometimes
the best shooting player of all time is on that team. The best shooting all-around player of all time is on that team in Kevin Durant. You've got the best shooting Batman, the second man ever on that team. You've got Draymond Green, who he's Draymond, but he's a defensive beast when he gets in playoff mode. He does what he has. If you think you're going to beat that with a broken down K Love, with a J.R. Smith who is past his Knicks and Nuggets years, you're fooled, son. That's it. You're wrong.
I get that, and your argument makes sense logically.
Of course it makes sense. It's right.
Just let me fit. Like, I get that. But sometimes in sports, none of that matters. That's the thing about sports. Let's say, look, all those stats you just pointed out, all those players who were great, and all that, that being stacked up. You said the NBA's Death Star was against you, and you lose game 1 at home against LeBron. You start getting intimidated. You start, as much as you don't want to, you start guessing yourself, and it gets in your head. And as long as that's in your head, you have a chance to lose again. And I think LeBron takes advantage of that. Not in 4. They're not sweeping that team. Of course not. But I do think they're winning 4 games in that finals and winning the championship.
I disagree with you, and it's on a couple of bases. One of them is this team is not going to be intimidated. They're coached by a guy who has his own jewelry set. One of the titles is his, Steve Kerr, winning that shot in MJ's 5th chip. Then you've got a team that's already won 2 chips. They're not intimidated by an away loss. And another point on that note is, how did that series end up going? First game, lost, LeBron team. First game, Golden State win. Second game, Golden State win. Third game, Golden State win. Do I need to say more? They got swept. 4-0. There's no way you're turning a 4-0 against one of the best teams ever built talent-wise into a win with 1 win at home. A home win at best.
That wasn't a home win.
It was.
It would have been an away win. Even if they split the first 2 games 1-1, going back home 1-1 against when you were supposed to be down 2-0 is still a motivator for you to keep on pushing, especially when you get back to Cleveland.
But it's as much as a motivator for the other team as, okay, we're 1-1. We should be 2-0. Let's finish this now. And they win in game 5, 4-1.
I know, but I still stand.
You look at the margin they lost by,
but I'll stand by it. I didn't even want. I was rooting for a sweep. I was.
Were any of the other games close?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think.
There you have it. No matter how much motivation, how much gumption, how much moxie you have, if you lost a sweep in 4 games with one of them being close and losing because one of your players is an idiot, you're not winning against that team. That, and I'm not going to say any team. I'm not saying a team. I'm saying that team. The team of a man, Steve Kerr, who has, 6 rings to his name as coach and player. I think the only couple people who have more are Bill Russell, Robert Horry, MJ is the same, and then
Phil Jackson.
Phil Jackson has 13 as coach and player. 13. Steve Kerr is going to boss on Tyronn Lue. You know what Tyronn Lue's most memorable career thing was? Getting stepped over by Allen Iverson, who again has never won a title. Tyronn Lue was not winning that. LeBron James, as much as God willed and focused through him, Steph Curry also prays to God after he hits a 3. He's split on the sides. You look at however you want. They were not winning that series, even if they took game 1. I don't see them winning. And that goes to, again, bolster and cast out any argument that there is. And I guess it goes to put this. If LeBron wins 6, then he has still lost 6. Right?
Right.
How many of LeBron's wins came in a game 7?
I mean, I'll
the
take
Warriors.
Listen,
The Spurs. Those wins I know came in game 7. And then did he beat the Celtics? No, that was in the conference. I don't remember who his first ring was against or his second one, but He beat these teams in 7 games. Michael never played a game 7. He didn't worry about that. He never had to worry about being bounced. So then if you want to say it's undebatable at that point, it's not. There's always a debate about who's the
I'm not
greatest.
gonna I'm not gonna say it's not debatable because everyone's always gonna argue about who's better than the other. Let's be honest. No matter where everything ends up, someone is always gonna say someone's better than the other, either Michael or LeBron. If it's anyone else, you're incorrect. But out of those two,
Well, I mean, you can make a great argument for Tim Duncan, for Kareem, Magic, Larry Bird, anybody. You can make an argument.
do you mentally put Michael and LeBron above them? Is my question.
Well, just
just a tier above.
Yeah,
I put them there because of different elements. But if we're talking about the best person to ever play the game of basketball,
The best basketball champion in the NBA.
Bill Russell. You just said NBA champion.
That's true. Okay.
Yeah. There's no matter how you look at it, there's no way you can really put it that makes it distinct. The only thing is the best NBA player, the best basketball player. Because you look at that, and that's a different argument than the best champion. Best champion, Phil Jackson, 13 rings. One for every single one of his fingers, and then he's got a whole hand more than half covered.
yeah, but they blew up the Knicks, so we don't mention that name.
In the famous Stephen A. Smith line of his first act as GM of the Knicks was to sign Lamar Odom, who was on crack. But I don't think that anything. I don't think a LeBron win. I don't think 3 LeBron wins. I don't think 4, 5, 6. I don't think whatever. I don't think it dispels the argument because he's lost as many times as Michael has won. Finals MVP.
Okay, let me put it this way. I have always held in myself that Michael was better than LeBron. I think we've talked about this before. You and me, PJ, you and me. I've had the conversation with other people, a bunch of stuff, like a bunch of different people. I've always held that Michael Jordan was just, to me, better than LeBron. If LeBron wins 6, let's say he gets a chip this year, and it's a chip. And then that opens up the floodgates for LA to become even better the next 2 years. And he continues to keep winning and winning. Let's say he gets 6. That's it for me. He's gone past Michael and has taken that top spot.
Yeah, I mean that's
that's just for me personally.
And I was going to say that's a very personalized thing. Is I don't think that just numbers. I mean, if you look at numbers, Wilt Chamberlain's the best player ever played, and I don't put him in my top 5.
Yeah,
that's true.
Numbers tell. You and I were both taught, and
body counts.
I was taught, and I brought it up on our Monday politics podcast. There's 3 lies, damn lies, and statistics. And that's one of the things you can look at is stats, man. If a player doesn't pass the eye test, if they don't have that just sheer grit through their whole career, I don't know what they are. You got guys like Rafael Palmeiro, who had a couple great seasons in the MLB. Sammy Sosa had a couple great seasons, but not a great ball player. A great ball player is your Barry Bonds. It's your Mariano Rivera. It's your Randy Johnson.
Let's be somewhat brutally honest here.
Even your Ripken, even guys like Ripken Jr., if it weren't for his Iron Man, he would not be in the Hall of Fame. Dudes like Brooks Robinson are excellent ball players. But there's some guys who have that thing to them. You need a gimmick. You need something to do it. But there's people who are good, and then they are above and beyond their Hall of Fame. And in my specific, the way I look at it, is LeBron had a certain amount of years that he could get the job done, and he didn't. He got to 6 finals and didn't win them. And I'm not diminishing what getting to the finals means, because 3 of them he wasn't going to win. Well, 2 of them he wasn't going to win. He wasn't going to win against that Warriors with KD. Not at all. You're not going to beat that. And then I don't think he was going to win that I don't think he was going to win that one against the Spurs that he ended up winning
Well, I mean, and the first one against the Spurs.
I was
his
going to
first
say
run
the
in
first one's against the Spurs. I don't think he was winning that. He wasn't equipped. But you get into it and you look, and there's going to be an argument. As much personal whatever you have for it, you can't just look at stats. You need to look at the way that the game is played and how the team around him was built. And his team didn't have him winning. There's a reason in football, there's 3 people who touch the ball every single play. The ref, the center, and the quarterback. No matter what happens, unless it's wildcat or something, it's ref, center, quarterback. In baseball, pitcher, catcher. Pitcher is the only person who touches the ball at all during any play ever. The pitcher, 100%.
Right.
But in basketball, there's no one guy. So it's not a one-man game. That's why Wilt doesn't have 10 rings. Right? Despite being the highest accoladed player of all time, there's a reason he doesn't have that. Because he didn't have that game built up around him. Michael was fortunate enough to have his Robin to his Batman. You know? He had his go-to. He had the greatest rebounder of all time on his team for the last 3.
I was about to say he had Robin and Nightwing for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, he had Pippen forever, and he had D-Rod, the best rebounder of all time, on as a power forward. And then you look at the rest of his squad and you go, damn, it's no wonder they won 6 rings. But with LeBron, you look at a team that had Anderson Varejao on it. No, it's not happening. It's not happening with that. When the best player on your team adjacent to you is Kyrie, and maybe you had Kevin Love, or maybe you had Kyrie and you had Kevin Love. Kevin Love still, he's a great player. Don't get me wrong. He's going to give you 15 and 12 every game, but he's not what you need.
He's no Dennis Rodman.
He's no Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman will get you 0 points and 30 rebounds. And of course, scoring puts you on the board, but rebounding, offensive boards are what win you championships. That's it. If you can't grab them, if you miss, I don't care if your team shoots 30 of 90 from 3. If you guys get every offensive board from those threes, you win, because that's 90 points off of threes alone. It all comes down to the rebounding, and LeBron has never had a guy around him that's just a stud in that way. He's never had somebody who can do it on defense the way that Pippen did. LeBron got a couple all defense. He can play, but he doesn't do it the way Jordan did. But LeBron, in his own right, is a tank. He comes barreling through the lane like a freight train, and who's going to stop him?
Right.
Nobody. Who wants to, right? You're putting your body on the line, getting trucked by him just to draw an offensive foul. You're not going to do that. You're going to leave with a concussion. I just don't see any way that, back to it, I don't see a way that LeBron's, if he wins 3, I don't think it at all makes it definitive. I don't think it quells the argument. I don't think it puts some head and shoulders above. I don't think it makes it definitive. I think it just brings the argument to life, because right now, what LeBron has that Michael doesn't is LeBron has 4 more, 3 more, 6 more seasons in him. And he could win, but he could lose every single one of them. And then let's say he does lose 3 more. What does 3 for 12 show as a career? That's why I say these years are more important than anything, because this is make or break stuff for your legacy. If you end up, it's different ending up 6 for 12 than it is 3 for 12. That's a lot different. Being 3-9 in finals versus being 6-6 tells a whole different story. No matter how you watched it, how you saw it, the domination that you saw in the play style, it doesn't matter. It comes down to the numbers in finals record and how many chips you walk away with, how many Larry O'Briens you got, how many rings you got on your fingers. And that's just what it comes down to.
So the NBA playoffs.
Yeah. The NBA playoff. The fact that after the freight train that is LeBron James derailed our conversation,
I mean, he derails a lot of players' seasons all the time. So this,
Yeah, I mean, he did. How do they have a seeding out yet, or do we know the format of how they're going to do play-in?
They're
games?
doing 8 like regular season games for each team to like finalize the seeding, and then they'll have like the regular like 16 teams for the
I think-
playoffs. Yeah, it's 8 in each one. So they'll have the last 8 regular season games to like finalize the bottom seeds.
Hey, let me
Now, I think
let
what
me
they
read.
said is the bottom, if the 8th seed is over 4 games ahead of the 9th seed, then it's just the
Cut off.
16 teams. But if it's within 4 games, then there's like a wild card game between 8 and 9 who gets the 8th seed.
Are the I got a little info on this. Wait, we have. I think they said ABC is going to be responsible for broadcasting the playoffs, right?
They usually do. ABC
Exclusive. They usually split between
Mike
ABC
Green.
and TNT.
No,
But
it's always,
since
ABC has always had the finals.
I mean, no, I know it's always had the finals. I'm talking about like
calling bang for Ray Allen and then for Steph Curry.
Bang. Yeah. Okay. But like,
Same way
okay.
Dick Vitale does NCAA.
Unbelievable.
Are you serious?
It's Coach K.
Yeah.
You know that. I have
Iconic.
this thing. Yeah, I got this thing from NBC Sports. It says projecting schedules for all 22 returning NBA teams. Right. It says the new structure will reportedly be based on teams' existing schedules. Teams playing their next 8 originally scheduled games against the continuing 22 teams. Of course, that doesn't work cleanly. Some teams would reach 8 games more quickly than other teams. So whenever a team arrived at an opponent that already reached 8 games, I just continued to the team's next game. So with that assumption in mind, here are the remaining opponents for each team. The Celtics are going to play the Bucks, Wizards, Raptors, Nets, Wizards again, Trailblazers, Grizzlies, and the Heat. The Brooklyn Nets are going to play the Clippers, Kings, the Wizards, Celtics, Magic, Clippers, Magic, and Trailblazers. This is a longer list than I expected.
Well, I guess my question though is, when you said there's 8 games, is it 8 games for each team or 8?
8 games for each team.
8
Okay.
games for each team.
Do you know if it's all in conference or if it's like, as Gerald was saying, the
I
next
think it's
8
all mixed
games?
up. I mean, it's all mixed up.
I think
usually
since-
towards
I
the
think-
end of the season, it's in conference anyway.
I think since it's close, since everyone's going to be in a remote location this time, it's just going to be, you know. By the way, what facility are they using? I'm usually good with facility, like knowing what
I
facilities.
believe they're
are
using
in places.
Disney's Wide World of Sports.
Yeah, Disney Wide World. Just hope it doesn't look like a regular
It's
old
not.
gym.
It's not in the
I know they have multiple halls and then they have like a main hall type thing.
Well, I can speak for this. Disney Orlando Wide World Sports used to host the Tampa Bay Buccaneers training camp every summer. You know, the very same
Okay.
Buccaneers that have Tom Brady and the giant pirate ship with cannons in their stadium.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
By the way, I was looking back
is
at our
this
stadium show
podcast.
the other day.
This podcast's absolute favorite team in any sport ever is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Oh, by far.
By far.
Except, I hate Warren Sapp, but other than that, the pirate shit makes up for it. I'm
Well,
trying
pirate
to find
ship,
he's a Raider.
pictures.
He's a Raider.
the Ray J Stadium.
I'm trying to find
Look at
pictures of this arena that they're going to be
I mean,
playing
it's a
in.
bunch of different kind of that's the thing. It's a number of arenas, but they set it up. I think. Hold on, if I can, let me screen share this real quick. Let me get this one opened up here. No, not that one. This one. All right. I don't know if you guys can see it. You guys can see this, right?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking it's gonna look like this because this is like the most centralized setup that I've seen, where they have this pulled out to the main court over here, and this is just blocked off over there. They might just put like a big curtain on this side. Because if it's not that, the whole field house looks like this kind of.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing they're gonna go with the exclusive looking one that
It's gonna
Or-
look like summer league.
or something.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's what
It's going to look
they
like
might be going
Vegas.
for.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, but also let's think about. I don't want it to look like an empty field house in a high school gym.
Right.
No,
I
it
need
won't.
something.
You don't want it to look like Drew League.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. No, the impression that I'm getting is NBA and Adam Silver are going all out to make this feel like a legitimate playoff experience. And they're not going to spare any expense when it comes to making it feel like the NBA. As it could easily look like like the Drew League, where it were just people playing at Lifetime Fitness or any gym they get their hands on. But you've got LeBron and KD. It's not going to be like that. It's going to be an experience at Disney Wide World of Sports in Orlando, where it's nice and warm and beautiful.
Are
Are
they gonna have fans? Do we know any word of that? I doubt that they will, but
I will.
They might.
I actually assume that they would after a certain date, but I don't think right now they're going to jump into it. Maybe for the finals or the actual playoffs they would, but I don't know.
maybe conference finals and actual finals. If anything, the fans, if you want to try to keep distance, just give like every third seat alternating rows to at least have some fans there.
Right.
So,
Or you do like
should be interesting.
KBL put in stand-ups.
Right. Just put in either banners full of pictures of people or mannequins.
But what I think would be entertaining with the NBA that no
They're
other league
not
can really do.
allowing fans.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
then they have two options. They could either pump in crowd noise, which would be fine, or we could actually hear the on-court talk,
Which might
which
be funny.
the Trailblazers are in, correct?
Yeah. Oh, my boy
Which means-
Melo.
Which means we can hear Carmelo Anthony going up for a rebound. Fuck out of here. I got that shit. Legendary Carmelo. Only second to Hoodie Melo.
Olympic Melo is best Melo.
Nah, Hoodie Melo.
Right,
by
because he
far.
actually won.
Nah, Hoodie Melo by a
Bro,
mile.
ain't no need for all that.
Let's also say
Ain't,
this.
yeah, ain't no need for that.
I know. Sorry, I saw the opportunity, couldn't let it go by.
Gang sign John Wall is great, but Olympic John Wall was better because they won.
This is true. I'll agree to that. But on a side note, if the U.S. loses at the Olympics in basketball,
Not happening.
it has happened before.
Well, it's not going to happen.
I mean, is it ever going to happen again?
No.
If they get cocky, because they lost the basketball World Cup a year ago or 2 years ago.
FIBA? Because nobody wants to be in FIBA.
No, I know. Well, they used to make a big deal about it, but now it's not worth anything because everyone knows the Olympics is the more.
Yep.
It not only is it better, because it's a more high-ranking award, but
It shows up on your Wikipedia page.
right.
Yeah.
It's also good for your international brand. There's nothing better than the world watching you trounce another team, 110-57.
Dream team, baby. All right. Do we have
Yeah.
anything else on this episode, or is that going to be?
The NFL, that whole fiasco.
Do you want to talk about the NFL making the big mistake
The
of-
San Francisco 49ers deciding to be pious and post Black Lives Matter on their Twitter feed after the whole Colin Kaepernick situation?
Yeah, PG, you can go ahead and take the reins on that one, and then we got stuff to pitch in on it.
right?
All right. So, for those of you who have been living under a rock for the last human history,
Honestly, even if you know about the virus, the killer hornets, the economy tanking,
right. I mean,
Uh,
you guys have your politics show, so I'll leave most of the talk to that. But background
Right.
information: there's been protests about police brutality and such against African Americans, and the whole how it goes. So, refresher course: Colin Kaepernick kneeled during the national anthem 2015, 2016? Was it 2016?
2013.
Was it
had to be,
2013?
it had to be after they won their chip, and he was
No,
still
it wasn't. I think it was because he was still on the 49ers for a couple years after that.
I think it was PJ, I think it was our junior and your senior year, Corey.
2016.
2016. September 1st, 2016 was the first time.
Right, because I came up to you at the beginning of the school year. I'm like, did you see what Colin Kaepernick? And then you showed me a picture of what the Giants did in response.
Yeah, the Giants did like a whole anyway. So so he kneels during the national anthem, to bring awareness to the issue of police brutality and things like that. So, and you all know how that ended.
He got
NFL
blackballed
basically
from the
blackballed
49ers.
him. Yeah, he got blackballed. He's basically not allowed in the NFL. They did everything in their power to make sure he'd never step on the field again.
Right.
So, fast forward to this previous Tuesday, which was referred to across social media platforms as Blackout Tuesday, where people would post black pictures, just the color black on their feed in support, in solidarity with those who were out protesting against police brutality.
I think the point was to say in solidarity to say either we're stepping back so that our African American counterparts and those who are more informed about the situations involving African Americans in this country can speak without any hindrance.
Right.
Let's
And
give them the
instead it flooded
spotlight. We'll be right, and of course, people being stupid decided to put the wrong tag on there. But anyway,
as you were saying, the entire purpose of it was, as you just captured, is that black supporters could post whatever they wanted in support or resource links towards black resources. They could do that without being there, without the entire feed of everybody ever being clogged up by bikini pics and memes and everybody hanging out with the boys or whatever anybody's posting is for black resource.
Right. So, So the San Francisco 49ers, the team that blackballed Colin Kaepernick, decided to join in on this Blackout Tuesday.
Well, let's be honest. Every single sports team was.
Well, yeah, every single sports team did, but
the fact that they did.
It was a little, the 49ers obviously were already on the hot seat, and then they decided to go and do that. So, you have the fallout from that, which was, you can all guess how that went. Everybody was tearing the Niners a new ass. And then you have Drew Brees come out, and and what was the quote? He said something along the lines of,
"It was,
hey, don't disrespect the flag."
Right,
he brought it back to the flag issue, which was in the rearview mirror. But he had to bring this.
It was
back.
never about the flag.
It was never about the flag.
It's never been about the flag. It has never been about military, or it's never been about the concept.
Colin Kaepernick decided to kneel. Colin Kaepernick decided that kneeling was the best form of protest because he talked to the military. It was never about any of that. So anyway, Drew Brees decides to say that, I can't stand with anybody who disrespects the, whatever Drew Brees said. So Roger Goodell comes out today and
first of all, fuck Roger Goodell.
Oh, did you see?
I saw Portnoy
over to the first.
Portnoy won Barstool Prez. First of all, go Prez, go! All things Prez, go Prez, go! Won out a $250,000 auction that would have gone to charity, and Portnoy's money would have gone with, because it was a matching donation on auctions. Would have met with Portnoy and watched with Roger Goodell and Portnoy. Would have watched a Monday Night Football game together at Goodell's place. And then NFL is like, oh, background check. You failed because you fortified press credentials to get into the Falcons-Pats Super Bowl and then attempted to regain access into an NFL event, which has all been captured before. Everybody knows about it with what happened during, I believe it was Super Bowl 50.
Yeah.
Everybody knows about those events, and it was nothing harmful. And then, there's a lot of other resources you can check out if you want to know the Prez versus Goodell entire feud. But what comes to mind is Goodell's pride is bigger than what is good for the world, and turned down Portnoy's $250,000 auction, which would have additionally gone to charity, and is now only donating the NFL's $250,000 to charity.
Yeah.
But
So,
fuck Roger Goodell.
Roger Goodell, amongst many other issues that he has just absolutely dropped the ball on. Anyway, now I just saw the headline, so I don't know if any of y'all read the article because it happened as we were getting ready for this. But the headline was Roger Goodell says we were wrong.
I saw that.
And I don't want to get too into that, having not read the story. But if he's backing up now, he's an asshole. Because he's only doing it to save face. It's not because he's like had this great awakening where all of a sudden he made it his life's mission to keep Colin Kaepernick out of the National Football League
and keep Portnoy away from Super Bowls.
Right. Yep. Right.
But more importantly, he's made it his foundation of being the commish was nixing the Pats anytime that he could, was just getting in front of them, and then more notably, dogging Colin Kaepernick out of the league. And in my opinion, Kaepernick was a replacement level quarterback, still got booted, but the same point is he blackballed him single-handedly. When the commissioner rules, oh yeah, you're not good for the league, you're not going to see playing time. You're not going to see a roster.
So here's the tweet. There's a video with it, but the tweet from the NFL official Twitter is, "We, the NFL, condemn racism and the systematic oppression of black people. We, the NFL, admit we were wrong for not listening to NFL players earlier and encourage all to speak out and peacefully protest. We, the NFL, believe Black Lives Matter." Where was that energy on September 1st, 2016 when Colin Kaepernick took a knee? I'm not falling for this publicity stunt. Roger Goodell is one of the worst commissioners to ever grace sports.
I mean, he's the worst. I mean, you look in the past, and who else do you see it recently? Because I'm sure there have been commish before, like during and before Jackie Robinson, who didn't want him to play. But you look at it recently, I mean, who's the worst that we've seen? Bud Selig? Bud Selig's whole thing was steroid era, being like, oh, we don't want this. I mean, you look at Manfred and being soft on the Stros and juicing the balls on purpose to make dingers out of players like Bartolo Colon, which his
Bartolo Colon's home run was all natural. Do not disrespect.
By the way,
there's a reason they call him large attractive.
Look, Big Sexy wants to come back for one more year, and I'm all for it.
Oh, I love Big. I only have it because one, it was a birthday present, and two, orange and blue. I can say I'm a Knicks fan, but I am a diehard Bartolo Colon fan, and I have and it's orange and blue signifying the Nets, but it signifies the Knicks to me. A big Bartolo Colon's like pose after he hit that home run, and under it says "Big Sexy." And that is my favorite, one of my prized possessions.
Big Sexy.
I mean, he's great.
Large attractive beats the world than anything. I don't think that a player has been universally accepted as being such an awe-inspiring icon as Big Sexy.
Oh, absolutely not.
Bartolo Colon's got it going on. But I don't want to bounce this issue just yet. I think that it shows a bigger problem with the race thing than it even goes on. And we touched on this on the podcast on Monday. You can check it out, is Let's Talk Politics. We might have a link in the description.
We rebranded. We Talk Politics.
We Talk Politics. Rebrand on the nice rebrand that will follow through on this show eventually, very soon.
Yeah. Yep.
So you can look up We Talk Politics on YouTube and find us. And we have a video detailing all the events that are going on recently. But I think the NFL is, as they've always been, the NFL is an organization meant to save face. They put entertainment above everything else. And they put their brand above everything. And so when it came to the 49ers and Colin Kaepernick, they were easy to save face because nobody wanted to hear about it in 2016. Well, now that everybody wants to hear about it, then they're choosing the side of the winners on this argument. And so they're just playing favorites on this. They're just picking the easy way out.
But like I also mentioned on earlier in the week on Monday on the other podcast is that if they had said nothing, this was a double-edged sword. It was a lose-lose situation for the NFL because they put themselves in that situation from beforehand. But let's say the NFL says nothing during this time. What would be
absolutely.
Look at the Knicks. James Dolan sent out an email to Madison Square Garden staff saying we're not qualified to talk about this.
Yep.
And it's just an absolute disaster. And James Dolan I saw a tweet. James Dolan has not been qualified to run the Knicks for the last 20-something years, and he's going to.
I mean, let's be honest. James Dolan was hated already. If you're hated already, and let's say you have a previous issue related to what's going on right now, if you drop like I said, if you drop the ball earlier, you're not going to recover right now. It's not going to look good. Whatever you do, if you stay quiet, it's not going to look good, and if you say something, you're going to get called out. It's just the way socially how things are being done. Especially, we've seen it a lot in politics with. What happened with all these Democratic candidates who used to call out each other for this, that, and the other. And now they're all shaking hands endorsing Joe Biden.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Bro,
it's ridiculous. Yeah. Well, go ahead.
No, we can do my thoughts on the upcoming presidential race on the post show.
Right.
Yeah. Well, we can even do that.
Out of pure necessity.
We can absolutely do. We can have you on the Monday show, and we can talk about the election in the next couple of weeks.
Sure.
Right. Yeah.
Well, currently, as it stands, that has been the show. We're going to wrap up with the same segment that we have wrapped up every episode with. This is episode number 6. So we're going to go down the list. I'm going to take MLB. Gerald is going to take NFL, and PJ is going to take number 6 of the NBA, and we're all going to do number 6s. So
I'm telling you, no, PJ needs 2. He needs 2.
No, you see, mine is both, and you will see why.
All right, we're going to see what it is. So I'm going to lead off, so to speak, for one of the best leadoffs, one of the best hitters in baseball. An honorable mention to Joe Torre, number 6, but I don't see that as the GOAT at number 6. It's Stan Musial, longtime Dodger baby, did his thing, lead the league in doubles ever, I think, with over 700 of them. 20-year career powerhouse, excellent player, does the job, get out there, play the game, do it right. Stan Musial, guys.
All right.
Stan Musial. All right.
For basketball, number 6, I was thinking LeBron in the Heat.
LeBron James.
But I will remember LeBron most for number 23. So with that being said, I'm going to have to go with Tyson.
Whoa. You're digging yourself into a hole because you can't.
Is when we get to episode 23.
Oh, 23, I'm going to say Jordan. But like when I think about LeBron, I'm not like, number 6, LeBron James.
So you're gonna leave out LeBron from our list?
No, I'll put listen, LeBron
for any number.
LeBron is on 6, but I like to mix things up a little bit, and that's why I'm going with Tyson Chandler.
Ooh, that hurts even more.
Dallas Mavericks champion.
No Dr. J.
New York Knicks.
Yeah, I was about to say
Dr. J, dude.
Tyson Chandler.
Look, at least you have good players to choose from at number 6. Mine are.
There's a legitimate Young Gravy line where it says Dr. J, and then
and then he froze.
A blank.
Corey, give it a second. You're lagging, and you're gonna have to repeat that entire sentence from. There's a line that says Dr. J.
Something your sister every day.
All right. Well, I think we got the
we got the idea.
We got the gist of that. Try to keep.
All right. Let me get him over here. There we go.
Yeah. I cut out on that one, but I'm sure you guys got the gist.
Yeah.
We got the gist.
Well, there you go. Young Gravy.
All right. 1 or 2, guys. Just real quick. 1 or 2. Just pick a number.
Number 2, baby.
Number 2. Jeter.
Derek
All
Jeter.
right. So okay. So for my options, I have two choices for number 6. One of them is very inexperienced, but the other one is, well, he's mediocre, I guess.
Number 6, put a 2 in front of that. That's Saquon Barkley, baby. That's number
Yes, sir.
26. The GOAT. My phone
Saquon.
fell on the ground.
We are
Put
going to get
Saquon,
there
baby.
we're going to get there when we get to episode 26. But at episode
Can't wait
6,
that long.
unfortunately, I'm going to have to say, well, not unfortunately, at least he has some decency to himself.
Drew Brees. That's number
No.
9. Damn.
We're going with Jay Cutler.
Dude, cigarette in mouth all day, smoking Jay Cutler. Shout out the stadium episode where I was talking about Jay Cutler and who else? Sexy Rexy Grossman.
Sexy-
Yep.
Sexy Rex,
Sexy Rexy
the original
Grossman.
RG3.
The original RG3.
RG1.
I see a kid sitting out in a wheelchair in the stands. Fuck it. I'm going to hit him between the eyes. Sexy Rexy time, baby.
Okay. Yeah, we
It's
don't need a
Rex Grossman
recap.
style.
We don't need a recap. But if you want to hear what that is, you get a better taste of it if you go to the stadium show, stadium episode 3, I believe. So right, okay, so yeah, Jay Cutler. It was either him or Baker Mayfield.
So listen, before we go, I just want to see. I just want y'all to see this tweet. It's a picture of Dennis Rodman he made a knuckle sandwich. He put bread, lettuce, and tomato there. And the caption is, "Hey, CEO of racism, I made you some lunch." And that is why we love Dennis Rodman.
Absolutely.
Dennis Rodman, the GOAT.
The
All right. Well, that marks off the 6th episode of We Talk Sports, as the rebrand will put us at. I've been Corey,
PJ.
And Gerald.
and that's been the show. Catch you next week. Same time, same place.
See ya.